Did you know that you can get free microcontrollers? I mean free. No shipping costs, no cost whatsoever. Free. There's only one catch. I'll explain it all in this episode of Chuck Hellebuyck's Electronic Products. Electronics keep getting better, and in some cases cheaper. And modules like ESP32 and PICkit, I mean, they're very powerful for a pretty low cost, but it's hard to beat free. If you want to make a serial LCD display or a smart sensor, a lot of times an 8-bit microcontroller will do that perfectly and interface to the ESP32 or the PICkit. But who wants to invest a bunch of money in 8-bit microcontrollers? Well, you don't have to. The company who makes the Microchip PIC and the AVR microcontroller that's used in the Arduino, well, they give away sample chips for free. You go onto their website and you click on the sample icon for whichever microcontroller you're looking at, and it's not for every microcontroller, but a lot of them. And you can put in all your information. Now, you can't use a Gmail or Hotmail or Yahoo Mail or any of those generic. You got to have a real email, like from your website or a company website. But once you log in and give them the information, your address, and which chips you want, you can get 3 of one part number free, shipped to you in a white box like this, no cost, no shipping cost. They want you to use their microcontrollers in your design. So maybe you'll come back with a fantastic design and buy 100,000 of them a year. But the beauty is, as a hobbyist, you can every month go get 3 of one part number and then go get 3 of a second part number, all within 1 month. The next month, go back and get 3 of a different part number and 3 of another part number. So you can have a whole cabinet full of different microcontrollers to experiment with, 3 of each. And if you design something, you need more, go back and get more of that same part number. You can do this every month. They want to encourage you to use their devices. Now, I like the PIC microcontrollers, but some people like the AVR, which is what's used in Arduino. That's why I designed the CHIPINO, because this is for PIC microcontrollers, and this is for Arduino, the AVR microcontrollers, but yet I can use the same shields in both of them. But this is their sample program, and it's awesome that you can get all different size chips, 28-pin, 20-pin, 14-pin, 8-pin, 40-pin. I mean, there's just about anything available, and you can get 3 of them of one part number shipped to you for free. So I know you're probably thinking, well, what's the catch? Here's the catch. If you are into Arduino, the microcontroller that's on this board has a bootloader programmed into it. That's so you can just connect to your computer and program it. There's another chip on the Arduino that handles the USB to serial communication that then programs the microcontroller. And Microchip, the company that gives away these free microcontrollers, they own both the PIC microcontrollers and the AVR microcontrollers. So you can get free samples of this same 328P that's in the Arduino. You just can't get it with the bootloader installed. You have to do that yourself. And you can use an Arduino to program a blank AVR with the bootloader. So the Arduino that's doing that becomes a hardware programmer. And people have been kind of spoiled with the USB bootloader because it's like it is easier, but it also locks you out of a lot of features that you can set in your code because the bootloader automatically sets the clock speed, maybe the sleep capability. There's several things that the bootloader has to lock in order to work properly. Or if you could program the blank microcontroller with code, you have complete control. And that's the catch. You need a hardware programmer to use these free chips. And on an Arduino, it's got these 6 pins at the back. That's so you can plug in an AVR programmer. And I've shown on the channel an AVR programmer that I made a case for, so I could program ATTINY 85s. And that video didn't get a lot of views because I don't think a lot of people understood what I was showing you. is a low-cost programmer. This was, I think it was around $20, plus I put the case on it. I can now program 8-pin devices with any code. And this programmer can actually program larger chips like the 328. And this is for, like I said, AVR or ATTINYs. Now for the PICs, there's another programmer, the PICkit 2. And I showed that I made my own PICkit 2. I made a case for it. It's my own design because this is open source. This was from Microchip about 20 years ago. But they made it open source, so it just became the hobbyist programmer. And like I said, I made my own. I simplified the circuitry a little bit, made my own, and then I 3D printed a case for it, which a lot of people watch that video, and many of them were, what's a PICkit 2? So this is the catch. You have to own one of these. But because it's open source, you can get it anywhere. In fact, there's Chinese clones, PICkit 2. I got this for I think $20 online. You can get them even cheaper if you go to AliExpress. This one from PICCIRCUIT.com is a fantastic design. And it plugs right into the USB port and has a cable that plugs right in to your development board, which is like those 6 pins on the back of an Arduino. These are the 6 pins that program a PIC. And my CHIPINO module does not rely on a bootloader. So it's got the 6 pins, but there's no extra chip that you're paying for. So you can plug a PICkit 2 right into this and program the microcontroller. So that's the catch. You have to spend a little money up front and get a programmer. And then you can program any of these free microcontrollers that you want. But then you say, well, I may need a compiler to write the code. Well, that's free as well. You can get a free compiler from Microchip. You can get their IDE, or you can get third-party, which I love, like GCBASIC. GCBASIC is a free compiler. It's been around longer than the PICkit 2, and it produces pure assembly code. But it's a really easy syntax. It's very similar to the simplicity of the Arduino syntax of its code. But instead of C, it's more of a basic format, but it produces pure assembly code, which is actually more efficient than the code that the Arduino produces. That's free. So the compiler's free, the chips are free, and you can actually have AI write your code. It's very easy. Once you learn a little bit, you can have AI write the code for you in GCBASIC or in C. That's free. In most cases, that's free. So the only cost you really have is the programmer. Now, there are other programmers out there from Microchip. They went from PICkit 2 to PICkit 3, and then to PICkit 4, and then to PICkit 5. And each one gains some capabilities, but this is the only one that's open source. So this is the only one that's really a pure clone. There are some PICkit 3 clones out there, but that wasn't really open sourced. So those, it's a shady area there, but they get away with it. But PICkit 2 to me is my favorite. And actually what's inside of here is an 8-bit microcontroller. So there's an 8-bit microcontroller inside of this. So to produce my own PICkit 2, I had to use a PICkit 2 to program the microcontroller inside my PICkit 2. Microchip also offers a very low-cost programmer. It's called the MPLAB Snap. And it comes like this, as a exposed board. And you can get these pretty cheap, DigiKey or anywhere, for about $12 to $13. And they're very powerful. Essentially, from what I understand, this is actually like the guts of a PICkit 4 reduced down to a simple low-cost board. Now, I see some people recommend this, and they'll say, get this instead of a PICkit 2 because it's more of a modern programmer. But there's a few things it doesn't have that PICkit 2 offers. Number one, it's not open source. And number two, it doesn't support all the early PIC microcontrollers. So some of these ones you'll get may not be supported by this. And you can't change it because it's not open source. And the other thing is this won't power your board. If you plug your PICkit 2 into the board, it can actually power through the USB port, power your circuitry. This won't do that. So there are limitations, and that's why it's lower cost. And that's why I recommend the PICkit 2, because of the features that it gives you. Plus, the same people who make the GCBASIC compiler, that free compiler, they took the Microchip control software, which is open source, and reworked it so now it supports all the latest devices, from the early PIC microcontrollers to the latest, the 8-bit microcontrollers. There's still some 16-bit and 32-bit supported by this, but the full range of 8-bit microcontrollers, the ones you can get for free, shipped to you for free, are all supported by this if you have the PICkit Plus software. Now, that's not free, unfortunately, so it's around $25. So you get a programmer for $25, the software for $25. It's called PICkit Plus software. For $50, you got a complete programmer that'll do more than the latest and greatest. And if you get one like this, which I really like, from PICCIRCUIT.com with the cable, they sell the PICkit Plus software. So when you buy it, you can get the PICkit Plus software with it, and I think it'll be less than $50. Now, if you're an AVR, there's AVR Programmer. So you decide what you want. Maybe you want both. But what I'm saying is an early investment into a hardware programmer will allow you to get free chips and do whatever you want to do with it with free code written by AI. It's amazing. But then you're going to need a development board, and that's where CHIPINO or boards you can find online are available, or you can design your own and send it to PCBWay.com. PCBWay.com offers 10 boards for $5. It's a great deal. All you got to do is design your circuit boards, upload the Gerber files, tell them what details you want, the quantity, and you get an instant quote right on the side over here. So it's $5 plus shipping. So in my case, it's about $27 to get those boards. And if you want it assembled, they offer turnkey, kitted, or combo of the two. So they'll actually build the board for you with their low-cost assembly services. So if you're looking for this type of service, check out PCBWay.com. Now, originally, PICkit 2 came with its own development board and a PIC16F690, and then I modified that board. I did that for my embedded C programming series that I wrote years ago, and I've since then made my own CHIPINO, my own PK2 boards. Most of my boards I've made myself, but there's a lot of people that make boards out there that you can plug a PICkit 2 in, or like I said, the Arduino you can plug into the 6 pins here and program with a hardware programmer, a AVR programmer. There's different types of AVR that'll plug right into this. So it's that initial investment of a hardware programmer will allow you to get chips for free. In fact, I just got these not that long ago. It took 7 days to get this shipped to my house. I got 2 sets of 3. So in these packages are 3 PIC16F886 microcontrollers and 3 PIC18F2550 microcontrollers. And why are those important? Because my CHIPINO uses a PIC16F886, although I can change the chip and put whatever 28 pin in there, but I base it on a PIC16F886, which I got 3 free runs, and then my PICkit 2 uses a PIC18F2550, which I have 3 of. So now, as long as they have the boards, I can build 3 more sets of these. So I hope this helps explain why I made a video showing you how I made my PK2 Programmer case, 3D printed, and also a case for the ATTINY 85 Programmer, because I use these all the time and it's nice having my own custom case. But it wasn't so much the case as the ability to program free microcontrollers that I kind of skipped over, but now you know. I'll put links to all of this in the description below. I want to give a shout out to my Patreon supporters. Your support means everything. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching. And here's a few other videos you might like. If you want to help support the channel, Patreon's the best way to do it. And if nothing else, click on that logo and subscribe. I'll see you next time right here at Chuck Hellebuyck's Electronic Products and Filament Friday.